This is the Harmonic Motion podcast, a place where you, dear listener, can join with automotive aftermarket professionals as they delve into and discuss the matters which matter.
Welcome to this episode of the Harmonic Motion podcast. I'm your host, James Dillon, and with me in the studio, I've got Ian Gilgrass and Glenn Cutter, who are both fellow judges of the Top Garage competition. In this episode, we're going to talk about the competition, what it holds for the competitors, the method of entry, why you should enter, and the benefits thereof. And Ian, Glenn, and myself will talk about experiences and what to expect when you enter the competition. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So welcome to Ian Cutter and Glenn Gilgrass to the podcast, not from, they're here already. And today's episode, we're going to have a discussion about Top Garage and Top Service Advisor. So Glenn and Ian are both judges in this competition, and it follows on from the episode that we did on Top Technician. So we're here really to discuss the competition, methods of entry, really what garages are going to expect when they enter, the sort of processes and that type of thing. And we're just going to have a general chinwag, maybe to think about people that are thinking about entry, lurking on the outside, and maybe thinking that it's not for them. Hopefully the conversation will shine a light on the wonderful things that happen within Top Garage and Top Service Advisor. So first of all, welcome, chaps. Thanks for giving up your time. Lovely to see you.
Yep, good afternoon.
Hi to you.
To our dear listener, whoever that may be.
That'd be the one.
That'd be the one. Great stuff. So yeah, really, I'm keen, first of all, Ian, maybe could start us off to think about, for a garage, how does a interested garage, regardless of the size, how do they get involved with the competition?
I think it stems before the garage, and someone's been a very, very good technician. And whereabouts do they progress after they've reached the pinnacle of their career, and being technical, and they want to own their own business. So Top Garage, that's where Top Garage stems from originally. How do we kind of drive the business forward from being a technician? So yeah, I know what and it's all about from being technical, going to the financials, the marketing, the sales, the managing of people, the management of the business, measuring the business, etc. So it's how to develop the business, and actually, what that dirty word is, a plan. Because everything becomes, everything's been driven from a plan. So, yeah, and that's where a business, but a business normally is run by a person who's very, very technically minded. So it's making sure we're actually trying to grow those businesses.
Yeah, great stuff. So it's a sort of progression competition then, in terms of the technicians that progress into, running the shop floor. They go into management of some sort. That might be a one-man band or one or two. So what sort of entry criteria or sizes of garages could enter the competition?
The size of business can be from a sole trader. Just say, you're just running a business, you're doing everything within the business. We put the categories 1 to 3. We then put 4 to 7, and then we'll put 7 to 9, and then we'll put 10 plus. And for those businesses who run multi-sites, we'll put those in one particular group as well. So you can't measure a small business against a big business. We've done that through the actual development of Top Garage. It's been running 2 or 3 years now, and we're progressing it each year.
The biggest thing that people need to remember, regardless of the size of your business, you have to actually work out how many people are involved in your business. So if you're a one-man band and you enter as a one-man band, but your significant other, or maybe some down the road, or your son is involved in some way in the business, you're not a one-man band. You're a 3. And if you're entering as a site of 7 people who work in the workshop, but you've got a service advisor, a parts advisor, a receptionist, a valeter, and a driver, you're actually a team of 12. So you're in the 10 plus. And this is where we found people are slightly not fully understanding what the rule set is.
But that's
And
when
they're looking at it saying,
that's when it comes out into actually, you start to actually question someone during the competition. They actually do make the finals, and we realise then that perhaps they're actually in the wrong group. So,
So it's important. So it's important then for the garage when they're making their entry to consider all people that have some input to the business, even sort of part time, as you say, categorising your businesses correctly. And the reason that that's important is that because we're sort of measuring like garages with like garages, because we consider a garage with a smaller team is going to have slightly different plans, slightly different structures, slightly different emphasis than a bigger garage. Is that the rationale?
That's that's perfect, James. I know it's every size of business is different. So whether you can't measure a garage that has 1 to 3 people, say, with a business that's got 10 plus in it or whatever, you cannot measure one against the other because the job roles are going to change within that business.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe in a smaller garage, a business, you may have an owner manager that's also a technician, and their focus on business is maybe mixed with a technical role, where if you're thinking of a multi-site or a bigger business, of course, they may have dedicated business managers.
Yeah.
It's really hard when you have someone, say, your 4 to 6 employees, where the owner is also a technician who is also the main bookkeeper who does the marketing, and you compare that to a 10 plus site where they have a dedicated accounts department or a dedicated account person and a dedicated marketing person. You've got 2 people there doing separate roles that this one person is trying to do all of the roles. So it follows then that they can't do it as effectively as this one person whose sole job it is. And it would be unfair to directly compare, because this person's trying to do 4 things and this person's doing 1. So it just makes it a slightly more level playing field to judge everybody by.
Yeah, and I think that's brilliant, isn't it? Because you're in the category of like-minded. So you're 1 to 3 garage comparing and competing against another 1 to 3 garage. You may have slightly different views on things like marketing, where your marketing effort's slightly lower than a guy or garage business that's running more people. So no, that's great to hear. So garages that are in the relevant segments are competing on a like for like basis, or
a level
and we say
playing field.
compete
A level playing field.
Yeah, and competing like for like. So interesting. The categories of the businesses are segmented, so we're measuring like for like. What sort of things in terms of maybe preparation? If the garage is out there lurking on the outskirts thinking, I'd like to go into the competition, maybe because they've got a perverse sense of competing. If it went beyond that, what would be some of the reasons other garages that have been through the process would give for entering, guys?
Learning, most definitely.
Learning and
everybody that's entered.
Learning and structuring a business. Because a business structure is very much different from actually technically repairing a vehicle. Technically repairing a vehicle, you're focused, blah, blah, and running a business, and it will come from financials through to marketing, through to selling, through to business measurement, management of people, which is a challenge in some circumstances if you get the wrong kind of people. And coming up with a plan, where's that business going to be now? Where's it going to be in the short term? Where's it going to be in the mid-term? And where's it going to be in the long term? So you're actually structuring, you're actually formalising that process. So you're actually learning during the actual competition process.
Yeah, really good point.
One of the big things for me with very similar to Top Technician, most garages, they don't talk to each other about how they run their business. They don't talk to each other about how they market their business. And they don't talk to each other about how they run and plan either development plans for their staff or looking at training needs analysis tools. But this gives you the opportunity to speak to other like-minded garages and go, I've done this. It might work for you. Sometimes they won't if they're in the same area, but you've got garages competing from all over the country and they're going to share ideas. And these guys go away and think, do you know what? That was such a good idea. But also, again, with the judging process, we actually give feedback to the garages and they take away things. So, for instance, one of the garages I've spoken to previously, they were trying to work out how they got staff to attend mandatory staff training. And I said, well, what do you do at the moment? They said, well, we do it in the evening. We promise to buy them their dinner, but we make them stay. And sometimes they don't want to stay. And I said, okay, what if you picked a day in the week, say Wednesday, it's midweek, you started slightly earlier in the morning, you booked slightly less work during the day, but you then said at 3:00 or 2:30, so we don't have lunch till 2:30. From 2:30, we're going to run our training. So you've not done afternoon tea break, you've not done lunchtime. So there's an hour and a half of time that you would have lost anyway. So you put that on for 2:30, so that's 3:30, that's 4:00. You're actually giving them 2 hours maybe where you're productive for, but you've got them for their full attention. You buy them their lunch instead of their dinner. They still get home at a reasonable time. And you have your training afternoon where you've got your mandatory training. And I saw that particular garage again, and they said, we did exactly what you said. It works really well, and everyone's really pleased. And the boys love it because they're getting free training that they have to do anyway, and it's not interfering with their family time.
But it's also, Glenn, it's also about managing people, understanding what makes people
lost
tick.
No productivity time.
Yeah,
the productivity hasn't suffered, so their productivity is still there, but their training is incorporated.
Yeah, very good. So really summarising that, then there's a networking opportunities of the garages that enter because they're rubbing around during the day, they're having cups of tea and coffee. There's an events evening, of course, afterwards as well, where the process of awarding has gone on. But there's a good opportunity for like-minded garages that are thinking about improvement. They're thinking about their business to get together with other guys. So outside of the competition, but loosely associated, networking opportunities are immense.
But I think also, James, is about driving that business forward as well. It's about that they're technicians. They all come from probably the same background or etc., and they're actually driving their businesses forward together. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a singular business, but in a group, you start to actually push it forward.
Yeah. So there's the like-minded. They've all been on a similar journey, irrespective of their size. And they've got, I suppose, also, I think for me, what I've seen again of mixing of the guys is that you've got garage owners that are maybe slightly more experienced who are also sharing those stories with garage owners who have entered for the first time that are slightly less experienced, and they're sharing their voyage. You've
got the younger business, and you've also got the more mature business in there as well. So yeah, I agree with you. I know it's about everyone is on that learning curve, whether at the very, very beginning or halfway up or at the top. You've got that. I know it's all the way through.
Yeah, the ability to share. Sorry, Glenn, go.
I was going to say, one of the things that, picking up on Ian's point, garages, I've seen garages that when they first entered Top Garage, they were in the 1 to 3 category, and they've come back and they're in the 7 to 9 category, and they're looking like if they come back again, they're going to be in the 10 plus category. They've gone from, no offense, Fred in a shed, to actually now I have this amazing new workshop, and I've got all these ramps, and I've got all these technicians, and I'm doing all these courses. So you're not always going to be the finished article when you enter. Very often you're I'm getting better. I'm looking at things. Developing.
It's developing people. It's developing skills, and no one's got that in the first place. I know that takes time to learn. That takes time to develop those skills. They're completely different skills from actually fixing a car.
Very much, and that's what these garages are learning.
So do you think that the competition then sort of represents or provides a very safe framework to be assessed in your performance as a garage? If you're a new garage, that you can come and say, here's where we are. We're making money. We're doing our things, and we know there's probably something else to do. The competition, Top Garage, gives them the opportunity to think about how they're going to present themselves to the judging panel. And in that thought process, they can do some analysis. And in the analysis, they come up with the presentation medium they've got to talk to us as judges about. And in that, then you're going to reflect as a judge with your experience, the areas that they could work on. So in a way, it's almost like a free consultation.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the interview when you get through to the finals, you are looking at producing an elevated conversation. So an elevated conversation, what I mean is you're gonna speak about your business for about 3 minutes. Well, you are going to speak to business about 3 minutes. We're not saying 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We're saying 2 minutes and 59 seconds, and so many milliseconds.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
and obviously within the categories of Top Garage, we've also got Top Service Advisor, and the two of the guys that did exceptionally well last year, they were all in the same boat. They didn't realise until they got to the final that they had to do a presentation. And I said to them, okay, just talk to me about what you do, your day-to-day role, how you do it, and what is it that makes you good at your job. One guy hadn't actually entered himself. He'd agreed to the entry, forgotten about it. His boss had entered him, and he made it to the final.
Was he?
I spoke to him, and I said, okay.
Was he the person that was sitting in his car at Dover?
No. This was the Top Service Advisor who actually won last year. And I said to him, okay, sell me yourself and what you do, and tell me about your job role. By the way, you've got 3 minutes. And he said to me, can I use a timer? If you like. So he literally went like this, put his phone by the side of the thing, hit start, and he did exactly 3 minutes. And at the end of it, he said, I do blah, 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 and I think you'll find that's 3 minutes. Thank you. It was exactly spot on. And I did exactly the same with one of the other Top Service Advisors, and he was exactly spot on 3 minutes. And they're very used to speaking to people and preparing to speak to people. And one of the things I would say for Top Garage owners or Top Garage entries, if you are going to enter, be able to talk about your business. Know what it is, know what it does, know where you want it to go to, and have a clear vision. Because if you had to sell your business to another person as to why would they come to you, you need to know these things. And when you come to Top Garage and be assessed on the knowledge, it should be your expertise subject. It's your business. It's your garage.
But I've seen a person who spent 10 minutes, quarter of an hour talking about a subject for 3 minutes. And the hardest thing is trying to condense it and actually put it into bullet points that someone can actually understand quite simply. And it's
there's a bit of planning there. There's a bit of planning, isn't there? So you can't rock up and just wing it. And like you said there, Glenn, if it should be your specialist subject. So if you're on Mastermind, the one thing you shouldn't have to prepare about is the thing that you know and love and have worked within for many years. So, but you're right, Ian, then very often the keenness and enthusiasm of a garage owner, if they've not done the preparation, they think, I can rock up there. I know my business inside out. They've forgotten that it's a limited time to present the key points of that business. And I think that's a very wise word. So a bit of preparation and some practice will deliver, huge benefits. If they go over, they don't get thrown off the premises, do they? But it doesn't help their points tally or they're not contributing.
If they got over time, they will start getting marked down rather than actually marked up. So it's not going to. No, that's only one little part of the actual conversation, the actual marking scheme. So it's not that they're not going to get thrown out on it. Don't worry about that. So it's a competition. So and we love to hear about businesses, especially those that are doing well.
Well, yeah, and even just that's a snapshot of their business, but a bit of preparation on the presentation. Glenn, if the garage, we've got a garage owner listening, and they were going, "Oh, that freaks me out." That actually when they're doing their presentation, who are they actually presenting to? So it's not a room full of thousands of people, is it?
No, usually it's two people, and whoever they've brought with them. So if they bring two people with them, the maximum people they're going to present to is 4 plus themselves. Generally, if they're bringing people with them, they're chipping into the presentation. I would suggest that if you're going to get to the final, prepare what you want to say. Who are you? What do you do? Why have you got to the final? What is unique about your business? And what is it that is your passion that makes you want to get up every day and do that thing that earns you the money? And if we just went in just for the money, then probably we'd go and do something else, because you know what it's like. You get the Monday morning customer who comes in and everything's gone wrong and it's your fault. And if we only did it because we want to earn some money, then we don't need the Monday morning customer. But because this is the passion of what they do day in, day out, they want to develop, they want to get better, they want to improve. They need to be able to then sell that in 3 minutes and practice, and literally talk to the same presentation until you're blue in the face. Get Auntie Mabel, sit her down and say, I just want to practice something with you. And at the end of it, say, what do you think? And if Auntie Mabel says, well, that was confusing, well, do it again, change it until you can speak to Fred Bloggs off the street who knows nothing about you. And at the end of it, he says, I really like your business.
But that also, it starts to become a plan on where your business, whereabouts you're going to take your business to. I know that is just the start of the journey.
You summed it really in. That's the elevator pitch. So the elevator pitch is about your passion, as Glenn said. The passion is your business. The elevator pitch gives you a defined time period which you've got to highlight the key points. Preparing that presentation, and it's not really it is a presentation, but it's actually more of a structured discussion, isn't it? It's not really, you're not presenting to it's a structured discussion to the judges. You know your business. If you do that bit of planning and you segue between the different elements, 3 minutes is ample to do an elevator pitch, isn't it?
And also that the judges don't know anything about your business. So it's a great opportunity to actually promote, sell your business, tell you what you're doing in that particular period of time.
Yeah, and in the judging competition, the judges will generally wait till the end, will they, and then ask some questions of the competitor?
Yep, they will be asking, including those questions, probably why you wanted to enter Top Garage, what the Top Garage is going to do for your business, and also what the Top Garage is going to do for people in your business as well, because running a business is normally just not one person; it's multiple people. So it's how they're going to actually progress that business through to further development.
Yeah, and so they'll pick up points in the conversation, in that early discussion of the garage owner presenting their business. The judges are likely to pick up on some of the things that the garage owner says and probe a little bit in terms of answering those questions, aren't they? So it really gives the garage an opportunity to shine and invite questions to expand on further during that process. Yeah,
you start to ask some questions, and then the judges their brief is to actually drill into those questions and start asking probing questions. So it's not about telling me how great your business is. They want to know the structure of your business behind that.
So they may ask some deep questions about the plans, and they may want some evidence, about what you've just said.
It's all about evidence.
Yeah, Glenn.
One of the things
but let me just jump in there, Glenn, if you don't mind. One of the things you made a really good point there. I'm thinking, as a garage owner, that I'm not necessarily open to speaking in groups. You said, well, you can bring a support member of staff. The support member of staff can help during the presentation, and the support member of staff's also there during the questioning, so they can help, put the points across.
So one of the things that if you have another person with you, you can concentrate on. So if you are, some businesses literally, they have the person who runs the business side, and they've brought with them the person that runs the technical side. And when you're asking questions and you've got these two people, they're talking about the business. It's not all on one person. It doesn't fall on one person just to know everything about it. Obviously, they need to understand and have an understanding of the whole business as a whole. But if you are front of house looking after service reception, accounts, marketing, you're not going to know the development plans for the technicians. Is there a development plan? Is there a plan for the business? Do you know where it's going to be in 1 year, 2 year? Have you got a plan of where the technicians are going? Do you have this plan that says, okay, we bring technicians on and we have 1 apprentice, 3 technicians. All of these guys have got to be master tech by X number of years, or they need to be an MOT tester within so many years. They need to be registered on the OFT website by blah, blah, blah. It's all these things that the garages that have a good business plan, they know what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, when they're going to do it by, why, and what they want to achieve. And it's not always that they will achieve, but they know what they want to achieve. And if it changes, then they change their plan with it. You can't just set a plan out and go, right, that's it. It's rigid. It's in stone. We're going to follow it, because it's got to flex, because obviously the thing we have at the moment is our energy crisis. Energy prices have changed. Business energy costs have massively changed. So the business is now going to go, okay, I wanted to make X amount of profit this year. I can't hit that because the energy cost has gone up by this much. So I need to change something else in order to. And a garage that comes to the competition and says, right, this is our plan, and this is how often we review it. This is how we review it. These are the things that feed into it. For us as a judge, it's like, okay, I can ask lots of questions about all these things. But when you have a garage that you ask them, how do you market your business? Well, I don't really. I do a little bit on Facebook. The rest of it's by word of mouth. And every now and again, I chuck some leaflets out.
I was going to say, if I hear word of mouth one more time as a marketing strategy, I think I'm going to smash my head against the wall, because although it generally, if that's the answer, it's the only bloody answer, excuse my French, and they don't have a strategy. We get by with word of mouth. And so sorry for jumping in there, but that's indicative to me as a judge that you don't have a plan. You've used a convenient buzzword of word of mouth, which might well work, but is it the best? What other things did you try and fail at? Generally, when I hear that, I say, well, what other ways have you tried to market your business that didn't work as well? And they'll go, nothing. I'll only do word of mouth. So you've got nothing to compare it by, and therefore, and you haven't really got a plan if it wasn't working. And it sort of gets into the detail, doesn't it, of what a plan is. A plan is a way or a method of achieving a goal. And if it doesn't work, as you've said, you can revise the plan, reattempt, reassess, remeasure, and correct. And that's, I think, with all planning.
I think you've just hit the nail on the head. You measure. Running a business is about measuring things as well, so know what works, what doesn't work, and we all have things in our lives that we actually should be measuring or whatever else. But no, do we? But yeah, in a business, you need to, because you need to know what works and what doesn't work, and the only way you're going to learn is to actually measure things, whether that's in the workshop or whether that's marketing or whether that's sales or whatever else. You need to keep measuring.
Yeah, I think just to jump in there, Glenn, in the measurement, in relating to marketing, I think when we have the conversations with the guys about productive efficiency, utilization, and we might talk about, okay, revenue, profit, turnover, they generally have those measures. Glenn, what's your impression about the measurement of the softer stuff, which is still critically important, but do you find that the same level of detail going across those other subject matter areas?
No, what tends to happen, I just finished teaching a certificate in automotive management. And one of the things that we've done there is we talk about implementation of a plan. So how are you going to improve your customer retention? How are you going to check that your service that you've given is as effective as you think it is? And we'll just do a survey. Okay. How are you going to implement your survey? Well, I'll send a flyer out. Okay. And how are you going to ensure that the customers that you want to answer your survey, who are busy people, are going to actually look at your flyer? So if we look at it, about 4-1 is a really good return. 10-1 is average. 15-1 is normal. So you give out 15 flyers, you get one back. Whereas if you actually get someone and to use the skills that they're given, so that our service advisors, they're brilliant at getting people to talk because that's what they do day in, day out. And if you haven't got someone who is brilliant at getting people to talk, perhaps they're not the right person in that role. And you need to look and adjust it. And our soft skills of understanding people, being empathetic when they come in. I mean, most of our customers, they do a lot of distress purchase. Their car's broken down. They didn't plan it. They don't want it. They don't want to give you the 100, 150, 200 pound or whatever the invoice cost is, because that's something that's happened to them and it's a distress purchase. They're servicing, yes, that's planned. And they should be in a better frame of mind. And that's when you can use your soft skills to talk to them and find out what they want. But that's also when you talk to them and find out what they want and how you can change your business. One of the best tools I saw going back quite a few years, I went into a garage and I was talking to this guy and he had a terminal. I said, what's that for? He said, this terminal, he said, is brilliant. He said, it's a dumb terminal. All you can do is put your details in. He had a big sign on it and it said, if you would like me to send you a no obligation MOT reminder, please put your details in here. And he got them to agree that he could send them marketing stuff. And he would every year send them a reminder of their MOT personalized to them. But he was an MOT testing station. And of course, what he wanted was generate numbers in his database that he could send out to, you require an MOT. But it cost him nothing. And he had a big sign up and he said, I will do this for you. And people love something for nothing.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good example of a plan, of having a thought about a plan and implementing it, and also maybe looking at the feedback. So talking about soft measurements and the effectiveness of a plan, he would know the return number of entries. And again, I think with the metrics in the workshops, we hear a lot of productive efficiencies and utilization and the frequency of this and the number of repair orders and the average invoice value and the profit numbers. But when we go talking about training plans, take me through your team training plan. Take me through your marketing plan. How are you promoting your business? Take me through here's another great one, your succession plan. And very often these key aspects that are essential to a business don't appear to be there. And I think it's that in the preparation of the entry gets guys and girls who are running business to think a bit larger about, okay, what is the business made up of and how am I going to achieve this? And I think for me, I see some of the light bulbs go on in some of the garage groups that we're judging. When you ask that question and their eyes go wide, we haven't got one. Brilliant. And don't be worried by that. We've identified a gap for you to go away and think about for the next time round. We've identified a gap. And if they hadn't entered the competition, they may have laboured on in that way with that gap and not have recognised it, because let's be honest, garage people running businesses are very busy people. And the strategic and the planning bit doesn't happen as much as it should. And for me, I get really revved up when I see these opportunities for identifying gaps which the competition, Top Garage and Top Service Advisor, gives to take a break from the business. It's on a weekend to come and experience the assessing bit and, identify some gaps, put some plans in place.
I think with the succession part, James, you've hit a bit of a passion of mine. I speak to so many garages and we talk to them about apprentices and they, no, don't have apprentices, don't train anybody, it's a waste of time. Well, at some point, somebody trained you. So was that a waste of time? And if we don't train anybody we're not going to have any technicians coming through. And we're already suffering at the moment in that we're not got many technicians coming through. And lots of people I talk to of a certain age say that the skill levels are going down because we're not seeing so many things that we can repair or understand. But actually we can repair and understand if we put the training in and push the skill level back up. So if we don't plan for succession, our garage trades is going to become harder and harder and harder, because all that will happen is they'll start poaching from other garages, and technicians will move for £1 an hour. So if you've got a technician that you know is really good, but you're not giving them any training to keep them up to date, and you're not sending them on training courses, you're not developing them. If Joe Bloggs down the road says, do you know what? Come to me, James, I'll give you another £1 an hour, and I'm going to send you on 4 training courses a year, 1 a quarter. And within 2 years, I'll have put you through your MOT tester. And within 3 years, I'll have you up to master technician. Then we're not going to bring people in if we don't actually think about.
But then, Glenn, you're talking about developing people. And developing people is key to running a business. Because if you don't develop those people, your business won't develop at the same time. If your business doesn't develop, your business doesn't grow. And you've got to grow a business, because otherwise, if you have a business that stays stationary, it will kind of wither and die, and you won't make that dirty word called a profit.
Somebody once said to me, if you are always working in your business, you're not working on your business. So if you're in your business as a worker in it, how can you work on it? And if you don't work on it, it won't change. So you need to think about developing the people to work in it so that you can work on it. Sorry, James.
Yeah, no, I was holding back because I couldn't agree more. It's a very interesting fact, actually, when you were thinking about the smaller garages and how garage businesses proceed, because thinking about technicians in the workshop, maybe I'm not sure. It's quite a common path. I don't know if there are many other common paths, but generally the productive employee, the technician in the workshop, gets an idea that he's repairing and fixing cars, and his voyage into business is, I could do this myself. I look at the hourly rate that the garage is charging, and I could go, do you know what? I could cut that in. I could take a quarter off that, 75%, open my own garage, and be having all of that money myself. And that's often the way that the technician moves into the business. There's a very interesting book called The E-Myth, and it's about entrepreneurship, and it defines 3 key roles within any business. It starts with the technical role, so what you're used to producing as a garage technician is repairing cars. It then says, but running a business expands slightly beyond that, and now you have to have a manager role as part of your technical role. What do you mean? Well, so who's going to be receiving these cars in the garage you just set up? Who's receiving the customers? Okay, you are, because you're also the technician. Who's going to write the invoice up? You are, because you're also the technician. You're now combining manager and technician role. Who's deciding what you're going to do next week or month or year? Do you put an MOT bay in? Do you buy new diagnostic equipment? Do you take on another employee? And that third element's called the strategist role. So the one-man band who was working in the garage decides to set up on his own has now got those 3 key roles to sort of think about. So it goes very much back to what you're saying there, Glenn, about, you have to have a sort of wider view about what is in your business and dedicate the bits of your role. As your business improves, you come away from the technical role and go into the manager role and some more strategy. And as you build the business further, you come out of the manager role and go more into strategy, and you're employing the team to fill those tiers under you. My experience so far says that a lot of the technical guys stay in the technical role, doing a little bit of management and no strategic. And in the competition, as a result of some of the conversations, that's one of those wide-eyed moments going, I am so far in the business that I'm not working on the business. And that's what struck me by what you said, having seen it.
I think one of the things that has come to light for me recently is I was talking to a brand new group came in, and we were talking about, so you're now in the management role, you're looking after a process, a procedure, a group, a department. and you've got to think about these other costs. They said, what do you mean other costs? I said, okay, if you employ someone, you've got a cost of employment. They went, no, we haven't. We just pay their wages. I said, no, you haven't. You've got a cost of employment. You've got all these other things. You've got employer's national insurance. What do you mean? Well, there's a cost for you to employ that person. So if you pay them 20 grand a year, you've then got an additional cost on top of that 20 grand because of your employing them.
And you've got to put a holiday pay on everything else like that.
And they just looked at me and went, what do you mean? And we had to go through all the different on costs. And then we were talking terminology. So understanding gross profit, net profit, working capital, cash flow. And these guys are looking at me like, you're talking a foreign language. No, we're not. We're talking about process and procedure and things that are in place that are involved in a managing of a department, a company, a garage, or what you're doing. And you need to understand them. And if you don't understand them, how can you actually change or influence?
But that's why it's been very, that a technician normally becomes a business owner and needs to develop themselves. It's just not, they just don't go into that business but they need to grow as a person. They need to grow their skills need to actually focus on other areas.
So, Ian, would you recommend a technician that was thinking about opening a business? What should they do before they take that step? Do you think business training is a key attribute or key necessary?
I would go on a very, very simple business course, and there's lots and lots out there. Whether you're looking at the internet, whether you look at your local college or business, there's many, many ways to actually learn that business, and we all keep learning. I know there's like you said in one previously, something works, something might not work, but you've got to actually measure what's working and what's not working, and then focus on what does work.
There's a reason why we have apprentices. So we have, if you look at an apprentice is someone who learns a skill from somebody else who can already do it. In business, what we tend to see is a really good technician opens a garage and says, I can do this. Well, surely they should go and speak to someone that has done it before and learn a bit, or maybe get themselves a mentor and say, if I do this, would you be my mentor that I can come to so that I don't fall flat on my face? Because I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I said I'm the best technician around and I could run a garage, and I've stepped up and I'm going to run a garage. Well, surely if you're putting your money into something, you learn how to do it. You didn't fix cars by osmosis. You didn't get in the bath one day and get out and go, oh, I can fix cars. You learn. And business is the same.
Yeah, it's a really good point, Glenn, and it's a utility that I use here. I've got two types of mentors that help me with my business. I've been doing it a long, long time, but the mentorship is exactly that. I am the apprentice business owner. I'm the apprentice in my own business in terms of a way, and having that voice of discovery, I think for me, getting some business training before opening a business was brilliant, because I knew I had an idea already before getting going what we were going to be faced with, and so putting plans in place and procedures in place to deal with that was great. But the mentorship bit for me is a bit like, I would consider the competition a bit of a mentorship in people coming to the competition, and the mentors that I have that work with me give me. They ask me questions. So there's very little by way of advice and direction. It's about a question. So I might have a question. This is what's happening. This is the direction. This thing has occurred over here. And generally, the way my mentorship relationship works is they'll ask a question about the way that you might want to manage, or the options you've got for changing or adapting. And so I find that measurable. So I think, yeah, brilliant advice. If you are in a business situation, I think whatever your scale, if you can hook up to a mentor scheme, I think, back to the apprentice. Think of ourselves, or myself, as an apprentice business owner, and that's really good. Now, just by way there is free help. So our local area, in all your local areas, you'll have a small mentoring scheme that runs that you can tap into and join a list and have somebody. Generally, they're retired business people that will pop along for an hour a week, a month, 6 weeks, every 2 months to pop in and give you that help.
But there's also that program on the telly called The Apprentice. And I know that's about running a business, and you can take so much out of that as well. So just by watching something, and they make lots and lots of mistakes, but then we make lots of mistakes in business at the same time. So yeah, it's about it's about that learning curve, and it's about using the same process as you were to actually repair a vehicle. I know you need to follow those stages when you actually run a business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you do. Yeah, about planning. Yeah, and I do make a good point there, Glenn, that you don't get out of the bath one day and suddenly be a business manager either. That those skills are hard fought and hard won. And then, again, back to the competition, it really draws that focus, and it is really like a mentorship program where we start to have those conversations about the way the business are going and the plans that you're making. And a question. Because my involvement with the business side is sort of short-lived. Do you have returning competitors? So do you have guys that have entered more than once?
We have people that have won more than once. So for top technician, yes, you can only win it once, but by the time they normally win the competition, they're either walking into other businesses and that's the start of the journey to actually say, anyway, I know I'm good, but I want to run my own business now. So and you can win Top Garage multiple times. So yeah, I know it's just the start of another journey.
What's really nice is seeing returning garages that have entered 1 year, as I said earlier, entered 1 year in one category and they've got bigger and bigger, and then garages that have returned and have won more than once, and they have to. You think, okay, so are they going to rest on their laurels? And it's quite nice if you've seen them 1 year and you still see an improvement, and that yet they won the previous year. And so there's always something to do, always somewhere to go. And the garages that, again, it's like top technician. The top garages want to be better than they are, and they use this as their feedback tool of, okay, I did that well, that wasn't so good. Oh, I need to improve that. And you see them come back the next year and they've developed on some of the feedback, and they've changed something, or they've implemented a new process, or they've measured something in a better way than they did before. And you come back and say, yeah, this is what we did before. We realized it wasn't quite as good. We've looked at this, we've changed this, this, and this, and now we do this. Great. And it's just something that I get quite enthused about Top Tech and Top Garage, because it's something that, why would you not do it?
It's free.
It doesn't cost you anything. All you've got to do is go on the website, register, do it, and show that you can do what you say you do. And if you can do what you say you do, and you do it in such a way that is, you measure stuff, you do this, you get the return on investment and your return of your customers, your customer retention rate is blah, then you're going to do well. If you come in and go, yeah, I service a few cars and I sell a few, and and that's about it, you're not measuring anything. So have you done that through luck? Is it you've developed through this wonderful magic called word of mouth? Do you fix things by PFM? Does your business develop that way? Or do you plan, develop, implement, measure, change, plan, develop, implement, measure, change? And that's where Top Garage comes in, because you get this free feedback that says, you need to do this.
Here's what you're going to go away and do. So in summary then, for the entrants, it'd be fair to say that the entrants aren't scared off by the process. So we have multiple re-attendees because they must find the process cathartic and helpful and useful.
And rewarding.
and rewarding and beneficial. As Glenn said, you get your takeaways to go and work on to make you. And in fact, the only one to benefit from entering the competition probably is you and your business as an entrant, because you're getting a non-biased sage advice from a panel of expert judges who you could take away and then turn the key and come back next year and showing, as you said, you get re-entrants coming back and say, we've done this and we've done this and we've also done this, and it shows the progression.
I'm actually just sat here thinking, as a judge, for me, we receive nothing as judges. We don't get paid. We don't get. There's no royalty fees, or the way I talk about it, you think I was on a retainer. Honestly, I'm not. It literally is the joy of seeing people develop, and the joy of seeing a business develop. And I know of a couple of businesses that I do look at every now and again. I just go back and check up what they're doing, and from where they were to where they are, it's you could not compare the two. And they are now looking at they in the nicest possible way, they manage the type of customer that they want. So they're not going to have everybody. They're not going to have Mr. Moany Monday morning who hates the world and wants it for free, because that's not really the customer that they want. So they market specifically, and they have a plan of how they deal with Mr. Moany Monday morning.
They now have a plan and how to actually drive their business forward, how to make more money. And they might be making
to develop the customers they want.
They might be making £1, but now they're making £10 out of it, kind of thing, because they've actually strategically worked better and actually improved their skills at the same time, and improved their business and moved their business forward.
Yes.
And I think that's about the competition. It's about they actually drive their business forward. They actually make more money. We go back to that dirty word called profit. They actually make more profit.
There are companies out there who will, if you ask them to and pay them a suitable fee, come in and do an audit of your business and tell you need to develop X, Y, and Z, and it will help you. That costs you money and time and effort. Top Garage competition just costs you effort and the opportunity to come out and meet some really like-minded people and come away with an award that you can then you can hold up your certificate that doesn't look like a blank piece of paper and say, I won Top Garage in 2023, and it goes on your wall. And your marketing plan will use that. And there'll be people who will then be able to advise you a little bit on a marketing plan, say, this is how you can use your winning entry. And it's not cost you anything. You've not had to pay £5,000 or £1,000. You've paid nothing. And you've entered, and all these like-minded people have said, actually, you do really well at this, this, and this. But if you looked at that, and maybe change this, it would be better. And it's cost you nothing.
Yeah, so the payback for your effort is the reward of sage advice that will help drive your business on. And so if you can be bothered to enter, you'll be really bothered to get some pretty good advice about your future direction. Yeah, no, sounds sage words. Listen, chaps, can we have a think about, say we've got our lurking garage out there in one of the categories, and they're thinking about making an entry. We've managed to shed some light on what goes on in the competition and some of the things and way it unfolds. What would we be able to summarize to give maybe advice to a new entry? What would be the top couple of things that they should think about in terms of preparing for their entry?
I would look at, if you're looking at, there's just a quick quiz to actually enter it first of all. Then we will do all the hard work behind the scenes. We will we will carry out some mystery shopping. We will carry out some, ask him a few open questions about financials, about marketing, about sales, about managing a business, about management of people, and about their plan. Ask them about, and we're not asking them commercially sensitive information. We're asking them, have they got a plan? How are they going to drive their business? Where they want to be? Where they want to know? Where they want to go on holiday next year or whatever else? Whether they want to go around England, or they want to kind of find out about Europe or about about the world. It's a big place out there.
It's, for me, that I've actually written these things down. Entering with Top Garage, it's honesty, passion, and knowledge of your business. And with knowledge of your business, it's understanding all of it. It's the process, the procedure, the planning, the marketing. So know the whole of your business. It's your specialist subject. And you are the only person that knows your business, but you need to really know it. Not just have this loose back of a fag hit, I want to be the best garage. That's not going to work. I want to be the best garage because I do the following. I have a succession plan. I have a training plan. I have a marketing plan. I have a plan for dealing with problem customers, and it's not called a baseball bat under the counter. I have a plan for how I get more business in, how I get more business out, how I drive my profits, how my cash flow works. Do I have a windfall that I can call on if I'm really stuck? Do I have a technical advisor? Do I have a mentor? Those are all the things that you could have, but know your business, know where you want to be, know what you want to achieve, and know that you need to take some time. Anything worth doing is worth doing properly. And if you want to do this, set yourself some time aside to work on your business and on your entry. You're not just going to do this in 30 seconds ago. Oh, I'll whiz on that website, I'll register, I'll do these questions. Oh, that'll be like 5 minutes at the end of lunch. If you want to win it, set yourself some time aside and do the things properly.
Yeah, it's very sage words there, Glenn. And for competition entrants that are thinking about that, my advice is that the time you spend investing in preparing your competition entry is actually directly time spent on your business and improving it. So don't think of it as time prep for competition entries. Time you've taken time out of your business to look at your business to make a plan. One of the lovely little tools that I use quite a lot is something called a SWOT analysis. So from a really basic business perspective, you get a sheet of A4 paper, you draw a cross in the middle, and you put your strengths and weaknesses at the top, you put your opportunities and threats along the bottom, and you just think about your business in what are the relative strengths. So it might be your location, it might be your loyal customer base, it might be your team. You might think, what are the weaknesses? You might say, we've got a limited space, the car parking's not quite so good, or there's the effort we make into attracting new customers that isn't great. You think of opportunities, then how could you grow the business? So what ways could you change the profile of your customer base? So maybe you're dealing with budget conscious people, maybe you're on a price comparison website getting a lot of work that way. And then you think about the threats. So what else could change? So you could get a competitor opening up next door. He's also trying to be the cheapest. With a cheap competition, there's only one winner, and that's when one of the cheapest loses and goes out of business. So, thinking about the opportunity, if you differentiate on price and quality rather than, low price and cheapness, the SWOT analysis tool for me would be my recommendation of a start point for anyone that is thinking about making an entry. Yeah. Ian, in terms of where the ladies and gentlemen that might be listening could go to enter, where would they find details of how to join in this joyous competition?
Right, it's so simple. Go on to the aftermarket website, look down the aftermarket website, you'll then see Top Garage, and you'll see the links to actually click on and actually register your business. And actually, it's a simple, multi-choice quiz that's actually on there. So, yeah, I know there's no one actually sees that information, and it will actually drive your business forward just by asking some probing questions. It might turn the light bulb on to actually say, "Oh, I don't do that. I need to know more about that." Yep. So just keep asking yourself question upon question upon question, and that's how you drive a business forward. You keep asking them stupid questions.
I've literally just typed in aftermarket online on the Google search. It's come straight up. I've clicked on the aftermarket. On the homepage, there's two little flags. One says Top Technician, one says Top Garage. Click on Top Garage. It takes you straight to the thing. It tells you all about it, all the categories, and then it says Enter Now. big blue box, can't miss it. Even I can find it. So yeah,
it's idiot proof.
Really, really simple. Yeah, that's what I mean. Even I can find it. So it honestly, it's such a good thing to do. Such a good thing for any business. And I teach the business school I've just done. I've told all of them, enter it.
I had someone who had a spare 10 minutes to actually. It took him less than 10 minutes to actually go through that process to actually enter it. So yeah, I know that. And for the stage for the semi-final, we will do all the work for you. It's like you said, James. I know it's a great tool to actually see where the weaknesses and the strengths are within your business. So you can actually drive your business forward. It gives you all the tools.
I've actually been involved, and I did the mystery shops one year. And that was really, really interesting. So ringing up, being Mr. Customer with a vehicle, a real vehicle with a registration number and describing a fault. And I can tell you that the variation is from there to there. And some people they're the most helpful people in the world. They'll give you so much advice that you don't know what to do with it all because you've got so much. Some people were like, yeah, all right, mate, I'll book that in and I can look at it for you if you wish. Some people didn't even answer the phone. So how can you run a business if you don't even answer the phone? Don't ring back. So as a customer, okay, you don't want me. And some people got it absolutely spot on. Lots of really good advice, but not too much advice with and this is how we would do it. Can we book you in? We could book you in on this day. Yes. And as soon as we know what the actual fault with the vehicle is, we will call you. And I've actually had to make sure that I take myself off of some of the things because I still get reminders now about the MOT on the car that I rang up for on the mystery shop. And that's how good some of these garages are. But, so we use real people to do mystery shops, and you're honestly not going to know, because the good people at mystery shops are so good you don't know they're a mystery shopper. And having been involved in the trade and had mystery shops, and you go, I've got one. You're there signaling to everyone else that you've got the mystery shopper on the phone, and they're bringing you all the info that you need to talk to them about. So yeah, don't assume that the person on the end of the phone doesn't know what they're talking about, especially when it's mystery shopping time.
Yeah, which is again part of that process of entry. Yeah, great stuff. So, chaps, we've come to the time where I think we've gone through some of the really good detail there. Are there any final thoughts, guys? Any last thoughts before we head off?
You've still got a couple of months in which to actually enter it. So I know.
What are the dates, Ian? What are the dates?
The dates. I think I know that I know that the Top Garage finishes at the beginning of May. So you've just got to just after the bank holiday weekend in May to actually register and enter for Top Garage. So that's when the entries will actually go through to the second round, through to the semi-final, and then hopefully we will see you in the final.
And the final's in October, isn't it, Ian?
It is indeed.
Yeah.
There's the award dinner, actually, the award event actually on the evening of the 13th of October. So put that date in your diary when you can meet some like-minded people.
The other thing that we haven't mentioned is you do actually win stuff, and you win stuff of value. So you're going to enter a competition that's going to help you improve your business. And if you win, we're going to give you lots of lovely prizes that are of value that will add value to your business as well. So why would you not do it?
Yeah, as well as the tangible benefits that way, Glenn, of gifts, there's the immense amount of promotion, of course, isn't there? Being involved in the competition, being a semi-finalist or a finalist, and in fact winning, there are lots and lots of positive, promotional opportunities for garages that enter.
And there's some really, really influential people from our industry that are present at that dinner that you get to walk up to and go, I've heard about you. Can I have 5 minutes of your time? And they do. They give you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, however long normally that you want. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, no reason not to. No, brilliant. Guys, listen, we've come to the end of our time, so I'd just like to thank you very much for participating, for your benefit of insight and your sage and wisdom and advice. And we're going to sign off, and we'll see you real soon. So thanks very much, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Thanks,
See you later,
James.
people.
Thanks, Glenn.